It all began on a rainy Thursday afternoon when Marcus, a broke college student juggling three part-time jobs and a mountain of student loans, found himself standing in the fluorescent-lit corner of a small, overstuffed diner near campus, his stomach growling louder than the thunder outside, wishing he could afford more than the half-off slice of pizza he was clinging to. When he noticed an elderly man at the counter, hunched over with a crumpled wallet and a pained expression that screamed both pride and embarrassment. The man, who Marcus would later learn was a decorated Vietnam War veteran named Harold, had ordered a modest cup of coffee and a piece of cherry pie, only to discover at the register that he had accidentally left his debit card in the car, and the tiny total of $6.75 was now a source of visible shame. And though Marcus's own wallet was thin enough to pass for a pamphlet, something inside him stirred. A combination of empathy, moral instinct, and a deep, unspoken respect for someone who had sacrificed so much for strangers he would never meet. And without thinking, Marcus quietly slid his hand into his backpack, retrieved his last crumpled bills, and paid for Harold's bill, insisting the cashier say nothing about who had covered it, leaving Harold to murmur a hesitant "thank you" into his coffee cup as Marcus quickly retreated to a corner booth, feeling the odd mix of exhilaration and the gnawing anxiety of having spent money he didn't really have, but a decision that, unbeknownst to him, would set off a chain of events that would forever alter the course of his life. Because the next morning, as Marcus trudged to his early morning class, exhausted and still wrestling with guilt over his dwindling funds, he found a plain white envelope slipped under his dorm door with no return address, and inside it, a handwritten note from Harold, full of gratitude, detailing how he had been struggling with mounting medical bills and how Marcus's anonymous kindness had not only paid for the pie and coffee, but had inspired him to reach out to a long-lost friend who had connections at a veterans nonprofit, a friend who turned out to be a philanthropist with ties to one of the largest tech companies in the country. And within hours of Harold's outreach, Marcus received an unexpected email inviting him to a meeting with the executive director, initially thinking it might be some scam or misdirected spam, only to discover it was a genuine invitation to discuss a scholarship program for students in financial need with demonstrated community service. And when he nervously attended the meeting, clutching his worn backpack and trying not to appear desperate, the director shared stories of previous scholarship recipients, their transformative experiences, and the life-altering doors opened by acts of generosity, moments Marcus never imagined he would be part of. And as he left the building, a sense of possibility, unlike anything he had ever felt, washed over him. Because mere hours later, his phone buzzed again with an invitation to a private mentoring program run by alumni who had themselves overcome extreme hardships, with the caveat that they were seeking students who had shown genuine, unprompted acts of kindness, the kind of integrity that couldn't be taught in classrooms. And Marcus suddenly realized that his small, quiet act at the diner had somehow branded him as someone worthy of attention, support, and opportunities far beyond his wildest expectations. And as the week unfolded, more surprises piled on. A local news station picked up Harold's story after he posted a heartfelt thank you on social media, intentionally leaving Marcus's identity hidden, but the story's emotional resonance caused it to go viral, and Marcus's friends began receiving messages urging him to come forward, though he hesitated, reluctant to receive accolades for something he felt was simply human decency. Until one evening, while walking home, under the glow of street lamps reflecting off puddles from another rainstorm, he was approached by a middle-aged man in a tailored suit who introduced himself as an executive at a tech startup, offering Marcus a part-time internship with the possibility of full-time employment, explaining that the company had been moved by the story of the student helping the veteran and wanted someone with both humility and grit on their team. And in the following months, Marcus's life became a whirlwind of contrasts, balancing rigorous schoolwork with high-responsibility projects at the startup, receiving letters of scholarship from prestigious foundations, and slowly coming to terms with the fact that one seemingly insignificant act, paying for a slice of pie, had catalyzed an entire network of goodwill, mentorship, and career-defining opportunities, while simultaneously navigating the emotional terrain of reconnecting with Harold, who became a beloved surrogate grandfather figure, sharing stories of the war, of resilience, and of the importance of maintaining dignity even in the face of struggle. And as the seasons changed, Marcus was faced with further twists. Rivals at the startup questioned his qualifications, forcing him to prove his competence in high-pressure scenarios, while an unexpected romantic subplot emerged when he crossed paths with Lily, a fellow scholarship student and volunteer at the Veterans Center, whose compassion and intellect matched his own, sparking a tender, complicated romance woven through the tapestry of his transformative year. And just when he thought the trajectory of his life had stabilized, a late-night call revealed a scandal involving the nonprofit that had sponsored him, threatening the scholarship and casting doubt on the integrity of the entire program, forcing Marcus to make morally difficult decisions about loyalty, transparency, and ultimately leading him to spearhead a reform initiative that not only safeguarded his own position, but helped dozens of other students, solidifying his reputation as someone whose character and initiative extended beyond opportunistic gain. And through it all, Marcus never forgot that rainy Thursday, that $6.75, and the quiet dignity of a veteran who accepted help without embarrassment, because in retrospect, it was the catalyst for a chain reaction of human connection, opportunity, and personal growth that no classroom, job, or mentor could have predicted. And by the end of the year, as Marcus stood on stage accepting an award for student leadership, flanked by peers, mentors, and Harold proudly clapping in the front row, he understood that life-changing moments often emerge from acts that seem too small to matter, that kindness has a tangible ripple effect, and that sometimes when you pay it forward quietly, without expectation of recognition, the universe conspires to return that goodness in ways that redefine your destiny, forever etching the memory of a broke student and an embarrassed veteran into a story that would inspire countless others, proving that courage, humility, and compassion can indeed change a life overnight in ways you could never plan for, a narrative that Marcus would recount for decades, smiling at the irony that his own life had transformed because of a simple, selfless choice to help a stranger in need, reminding everyone who heard the tale that greatness often begins with small, quiet acts of generosity.